Hello, I'm Ashok Muthuswamy, and in this module, we are going to discuss about staggering, scheduling, and resourcing projects in CCPM methodology using BM3 software. The chapters that we are going to discuss in this module include adding milestones, assigning project managers and task managers, managing constrained resources through staggering them across multiple projects, and level loading skills. Okay, so let's get on into our BM3 software to accomplish what I just outlined. Hello, you may recall that in our previous module, we created a simple project which is about building construction. We also named it Building Construction AM1 and we gave it a code as well. And I can also go into the details of the project. So if I press this blue button, I will be opening the schedule window where I'm getting the whole entire schedule of this building construction project. So now let me go back to the server page. And remember, this is the server page. And let's say I want to assign project managers to this particular activity. So I just need to go to this particular button which says Assign Project Managers. And I just click that button and I can select any one of the project managers. And in this case, let me select this project manager 21 and I'm saying OK. Similarly, I can also assign task managers, meaning which the person responsible for carrying out each of the individual tasks in the project. So I can allocate task manager by clicking this button, which will help me, in this case I can select from any one of these guys. I'm selecting project manager 11 and 21. In case if I need more of these task managers, I can go and obtain them from the resource pool. I can get any one of these guys. And let's say, for example, if I'm going to just click this, see that resource gets added to my list of task managers that I can assign to the project. So if I do not need this particular task manager, I can also return back that resource to the resource pool. So I just need to check this box and click this button, and I can also remove that person from this project. So that's how I can make all the personal assignments for a project. We just discussed about assigning project managers and task managers for individual tasks. But you can also assign project managers and task managers and other resources for a given pipeline. To do that, what you need to do is just go to this particular menu, pipeline, and then go to list and pull out the particular pipeline that you are interested. In this case, I am interested in this training pipeline, so I just click that pipeline. And now I can do all the assignments. So I can get a pool of resource who can be the project manager and who can be the viewer, who can be the resource manager, resource pool viewer, project manager, task manager, and POGI team member. For example, to add a pipeline manager, what I need to do is just click this resource and I can just select from whatever I have here. In this case, I'm not seeing too many of those pipeline managers because I got them all selected here, as you can see here. What I will do now is maybe I will just delete one or two project managers from the pipeline management. See, if I want to delete project manager 2 and 3 from being the pipeline managers, I just need to click these two resources that I do not need as a pipeline manager, and then just click this button, delete button, and it will remove them from being the pipeline manager. Now if I need them back in my pool of pipeline managers, all that I need to do is just click this button and it will present this particular window. So I just add these two guys, say OK, and these guys also appear. And that's how you do for all the rest of the resource or personal assignments. Just discussed about certain administrative aspects such as assigning project managers, task managers, and few other assignments. Now let me get into this particular project that we are using for our training purpose, which is building construction. and we will discuss a couple of aspects. One of them is putting milestones to the project, and the other is setting integration points, and I will explain what these are. So first, let me go into the planning window. So I just need to click this blue button, which will get me into this scheduling window, which is here. So now here is my project. So now let us say I want to add a couple of milestones to the project. So I want to add a milestone at a logical point. So for example, I want to have a milestone right before I'm installing water and drainage system. So I want to make sure that my building is ready up to this stage. So I need to have a milestone. To add a milestone, all that I need to do is just insert a new task, and I can name it milestone colon, and I can say ready for plumbing, mechanical, and electrical installations. And now I need to connect this particular task into this milestone, and I need to do one more thing. I just need to double click this thing, and then I need to set that particular task as a milestone. So that will be my milestone. Similarly, let me insert one more milestone, which will be right before I paint my building. So all that again I need to do is insert a new task, and I'm going to name this milestone colon ready for painting. And I need to connect the preceding task, and always remember, usually milestones do not have a succeeding task. It only has a precedent, not a successor. And I also need to set this particular task as a milestone. So I double click the task, and it will open this properties window, and I select this particular checkbox, which is setting it as a milestone, and I say OK. So now I have set a couple of milestones for this project, as you can see here. Once you have set the milestones, you also need to set milestone buffers, and let's see how to do that. So what you can do is just go ahead, click those milestones, double click it to get the properties window, and also check this box, this fixed box, and similarly also check this particular, the other milestone, also check this particular box, and now you say OK. And now you go to your Gantt chart, and you can now go to that particular milestone, and you can look at that milestone in your Gantt chart. Now you just right click the milestone, and then you can select insert milestone buffer. See, you get this buffer for milestone. Similarly, there is another milestone that we have, so you can also install a milestone buffer. So with this, you have created project buffers, which are here, milestone buffers, which are here, these two, and then also the feeding buffers. Actually, there are a couple of feeding buffers. There is one feeding buffer, and there is another feeding buffer, and then a couple of milestone buffers, and then the entire project buffer. So now I want to discuss another concept called staggering. And to do staggering, we also need to identify the constrained resources and set them as integration points. And I will explain all these stuff in detail. Now let us take a step back and discuss some of the basic concepts of CCPM as put forth by Eli Goldratt. Goldratt mentioned three important aspects of CCPM. One of them is identification and insertion of common buffers, which we discussed in the previous module. And the next one is staggering projects to manage resource dependencies. And this is where setting the integration point and doing the staggering will help. And going back to again Goldratt's theory, there is one resource, there is a constraint, and we will not have too many of that constrained resources in a given operation. So we need to figure out a way to manage multiple projects that will use this constrained resource by staggering the projects so that this given constrained resource is only used at a given project at a given point of time. And that's what we will be accomplishing by setting integration points and doing staggering. Now the third aspect of Goldratt theory is to monitor project progress and health by monitoring the consumption rate of the buffer rather than the individual task performance to schedule. And we will cover this third aspect a little later in this module. Okay, so now let's go back to our BM3 server page. Now that I am in the server page, let me go to my schedule window, which I can go by clicking this button. Once I click this button, I can get into my schedule window, which is this particular window, which has all the tasks of a given project. And here is where I want to identify which of the tasks uses critical resources and then set them as integration points. So in this case, let me say that the resources that are needed to install water and drainage systems, mechanical systems, and electrical systems are the ones that are very much in demand. And let us say that this block is performed by constrained set of resources. So I'm setting this block of 3 tasks that use the critical resources or constrained resources as integration point. To set a block as an integration point, all that I need to do is go to the first task of the block and right click and set it as an integration phase. Then I need to go to the last block and set that as an integration phase as well. And as you can see, the task in between these 2 tasks will automatically be a part of that block that uses constrained resource, and therefore I will not be able to set any integration point. If I'm right clicking here, I will not be able to set because this block is already inside the integration point. So here is my block that will be performed by constrained resource, and what I will do is if I have multiple projects, I will figure out a way to stagger those projects so that the resources that are used for these 3 tasks will be staggered for projects so that they will not be loaded for more than one project at a given point of time. That's what we accomplish by setting integration points. Now that we have marked up the tasks that use constrained resources by setting them up as integration phases, we need to stagger multiple projects so that the constrained resources are utilized by only one project at any given point of time. This will help deploying the constrained resources diligently without overloading them unrealistically. So to stagger multiple projects, first of all, we need to have multiple projects. So let me go ahead and create multiple projects. So for that, what I can do is I can create multiple versions of this particular project. So let me go ahead and replicate this project. So if I want to copy this project, all I need to do is click in this checkbox, and then I just need to say duplicate project. This is one way to do that. There are also other ways, which I will also show you how. And it will, once I click this duplicate button, it will ask me which folder I want to put this in. And let me say I just want to put this in the training folder. So I'm saying okay. So now I got another project. So now I can go and edit this project so that I give a little bit more meaningful name, and also I can also assign a proper code name. So let me go ahead and select this edit button, so this button here, and I am making it project number 2. Start. Okay, so I have made it project number 2, and let me also change the code to number 2, and let me also make some modification in the notes section saying that this is the second project, and I just say okay. Similarly, I can replicate these 2 projects at one stroke so that I get 4 projects at a time. And I want to put all of them in this training project, training folder. So now I have 4 projects, and let me also change the name of these projects. There are multiple ways to do edit the names. So I can either click this edit button, or I can click on the project name itself, and it'll open up another window, or rather another tab in the browser, and here I can go and click the same edit button, and I'll get the same window, and I want to make this into project number 3. And let me also change the note into 3rd project. And I can close this window or tab, and you see, even though I have edited on this particular project, still the name has not changed and the code has also not changed. That's because the server page has not been refreshed. Now if I click this VM3 icon, all the names and codes will get refreshed, as you can see here now. It is showing that it is project number 3. And now finally, let me also go ahead and edit the name of the last project. I'll just use this button. Four here, and this is the 4th training project. Okay, good. So we have these 4 projects. And now let us see how to stagger them. And I also mentioned that there is one additional way to copy projects. Before we go and stagger, I will also quickly show you how to copy projects by another technique, which may be handy in certain cases. So once you click once you click this icon, it will open the schedule window, which is this particular window. There is a way, you can go and copy this into your hard drive. So I'm saying that I'm going to file, I'm going to save as, and I'm going to copy it in my desktop, and I'm going to give it a name, building construction AM5. I'm saving it in my desktop. And now what I can do is I can create a new project in my server page by clicking this button, new button, and I can give it a name, which is building construction AM5, and I can also give it a code, which is BCAM5, and I can also say that this is the 5th training project. And I can say OK. So now I am getting the project number 5. And now let me show you how to copy using this another technique. So what I need to do is I need to go just click this open schedule icon where I will get the schedule window. Okay, so now that I've opened my schedule window, you see empty sheet here because we haven't created this project. But now what I can do is I can go and pull that file that I have saved into my hard drive. I can go to File and I can say Reuse Other Schedule. And it says, do you want to save the changes? You just say no. And you go to your desktop, you click this particular project that you saved, say Open. And it will ask you a bunch of questions, which one you want to retain, which one you want to change. So I am happy with the new name that we gave, AM5. Similarly, I am also happy with the new code we gave. But rest of them I want to just exactly have like what we had. And I just say OK. I just say yes there as well. So now you see that I was able to copy the project from my hard drive, and I can also click Save to Server so that I make sure that all the work is saved. This particular technique will come very handy when you have a project template stored somewhere in your hard drive, and if you want to create a new project exactly based on that particular template, you can use this technique. This way you can have multiple templates of some common project steps so that you don't need to recreate them every time. You just go and pull them from your hard drive. Okay, so now that we have these 5 projects, what we will do is we will see how to stagger them. Actually, 5 is a crowd, so I'm going to delete one of these projects. Let's say I'm deleting the last project that we selected so that I'm happy with the first 4 projects. So to delete a project, all that I need to do is click this button and then hit the delete key, and I will be able to delete the project. And let me also close all the older schedule windows. So now I have these 4 projects, and let's see how to stagger them. So to stagger these projects, first of all I have to change the status of these projects from planning mode to stagger mode. And how do I do that? Here is how I do that. So I just go to this edit icon again, click edit, and I just change the mode from planning to staggering. So here you can see that the status of this project has been changed from planning to staggering. And let me do the same for other 3 projects as well. Okay, so we have put all these projects into staggering mode. So now let's actually do the staggering. To do the staggering, you need to click this icon, which is called Open Pipeline. And once you click that icon, it will take you to a window like this one. And here you can see that our first project is already loaded. Now let's go ahead and load the other projects as well. So I just need to click this Load Project button. And I need to select those 3 projects that we want to include in this flow planner window. So I'm selecting these 3 projects, which is construction project number 2, project number 3, and project number 4. Okay, so now you can see all these 4 projects have been loaded into our flow planner, and here you can see that all these 4 projects are using the constrained resource at the same point of time. You may recall that we set integration points, and just to refresh your memory, the integration points are set for the tasks that use resource under constraint. And going by that definition, here you see all these 4 projects are using the resource under constraint at the same point of time, and we do not have bandwidth to support more than one project for these constrained, the resource constraint activity. So here is where I'm going to do the staggering. The way I can stagger is I can manually do that. I can just move this project like, just clicking it, dragging and dropping it. Maybe I can even drag and drop a little further. And then I can do this, the other project. I can do it manually. But then there is also a more elegant way, which is using this auto stagger button. So first let me undo the manual staggering that I did. So now I can hit this auto stagger button. So now you can see that all these projects have been appropriately staggered. I can even stretch this period. Now all these projects have been spaced out, so I can see that the constraint resource is applied for this particular project here, and then there is a buffer, and then it is applied for the next project, and then there is another buffer, then it is applied for the following project, followed by a buffer, and then finally to the 4th project. So that's how I can stagger the deployment of my constrained resources by using this tool. And here you can also see that there is one particular order that was used. First priority was given to project number 1, next to project 2, and then to project 3, and finally to project 4. I can even change these priorities. If I want, for example, if I want the project 4 to take precedence, then all other projects, all that I need to do is select this project, just click with my mouse here, and then I can just press the control button and I can just move it all the way up, and you can see that my 4th project has gone up. And now again I press this auto stagger button, and again it will stagger and give me the first priority for the project number 4. Now that we have done the staggering, we can also check the utilization of various resources across the projects. So here I'm seeing in this second half, the bottom half of this window, all the different resources and how much they are utilized. For example, the construction helper is highly utilized more than 100% of the time, and similarly so is the welder, and let me also see other resources, and to some extent the painting team. They all are utilized more than the capacity, whereas the design team is fairly used within its capacity, whereas the procurement and structural personnel are also stretched too thin, so are the civil guys. So this window gives me an idea about how much my resources are used and whether I need to hire some external help. So in this case, obviously, I'm going to hire some external help. One thing I can also try is I can further try to manually stagger. I can move this project, and I have noticed that the usage of this resource has gone down from here to here. So that could be one solution. Similarly, I can also do the manual staggering, and I can just play with staggering the projects and seeing how the resource utilization behaves. That is one way to do. And other is obviously to hire some external help. So for example, all the the red areas in the previous case has disappeared for the painting. Now that looks like we are able to do the painting just based on the available resources. Let me do a little bit of further staggering to see whether it changes any further. Okay, so now by just manually staggering, I've completely eliminated the overutilization of this painting resource. So you can use manual staggering to identify resources that are over deployed and see how you can just deploy them in the right way. And I can also add any particular skills to this window to see how they are utilized by clicking this icon, key skills, and I can add as many folks I need, and I can delete as many folks so that I get an idea about how I'm using all these guys. So for example, let me add draftsman. And my draftsman appears here, so it looks like I do not have too much of a need for this draftsman. So you can use this tool to stagger your projects and to allocate your resources appropriately. Now that we have done the manual staggering and got some of the resources to operate within their capabilities, let us make sure that we save this new plan to the server. It's always very important to go and save the plan to server. So I'm hitting the save to server button and I'm saving this newly staggered plan.